passive defense. Oh, and while I'm on that topic, I actually remembered it today. This is the book, and I don't know if they have, sometimes they republish these things with, newer, fancier covers, and so it may not look exactly like that if you are shopping for it online or something like that. But this is the book I was talking about, How the Experts Win at Bridge. I said published about 25 years ago. I think has a lot of great content, beginning to end, but if you bought it and only read the chapter on defense, it's money well spent. They really deal with it very well. And so when they talk about these lines of defense, one of the things that they talk about. I just realized
Nancy,
that I put them away.
Here so you can hear better?
Oh, I'm good, thank you.
Oh.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. So they actually break down defense into 5 different lines, but they also talk about more generally defense in as more of a binary concept, as either being active or passive. And I think that's really valuable because even if you don't feel like let's say you've read the chapter, you've read up on all 5 of their lines, you might end up in a situation that say, well, okay, I'm on opening lead. Which of these 5 lines of defense should I take? And you may not be entirely clear. But one thing that you can almost always do is figure out whether you should be active, whether you should be attacking, or whether you should be passive. And so I think it works really well just to know your general approach in one of those 2 areas. And then, of course, once the dummy comes down or you get a signal from partner, you get to gather a little more information, you might realize, oh, hey, I need to change my approach. This isn't what I thought it was. But I think it's a good idea to understand what you're doing when you're going active, or what you're doing when you're going passive, and kind of just a few pointers about when you should be thinking one way versus the other. When we talk about being active, and if you remember from last time, if you hear me say attacking, same thing. An active defense and attacking defense, those terms we use interchangeably. Generally what this means is you are either leading an honor or you're leading from an honor, like your length lead, like your 4th best kind of thing. We have these very natural leads that we make. We talk about leading honors from our sequences, like king from king, queen, jack, or king, queen, 10, usually good enough. Queen from queen, jack, ace from ace, king. By the way, do you all normally lead ace from ace, king? The only reason I mention is that it really doesn't necessarily matter which way you go, but some people may have, some people do lead king from ace, king, and that was very popular for many years, but then that started to change, and the main thinking behind that is, well, if we will lead ace from ace, king, that way when we lead a king, partner will know that we have the queen, and we typically deny the ace. It just helps clear things up a little bit if you're promising the next lower card and aren't likely to have a card above in that sequence, right? So those would be considered attacking leads, but we think of those a little differently than if we were to lead and then here, say if it's 4th best, or even maybe a couple honors like king, jack. If we're leading a small card from one of those holdings, this is something that I suspect many of you are a little more reluctant to do. And understandably so, because those are leads that might cost a trick on occasion, because you are leading away from an honor. both of these would be regarded as active defense. It's just that these are pretty safe, aren't they? Whenever you lead a card and you have the next card below it that you are promoting by forcing out an ace or forcing out a king and then an ace, that's pretty safe. So while it would be considered attacking, it's also not. It's not risky. It's a very standard lead. So I think the harder way of attacking is doing so from these kinds of holdings, and figuring out when you should be doing that. And by the way, I give you 4 card holdings here, but you might find yourself doing it from something like this too. And this gets a little tricky with people as well, because they say, okay, well, our agreement is our length lead is 4th best. What if you don't have 4 cards in the suit? So, for example, I normally, when I'm defending suit contracts, I typically have the agreement with my partners that I play 3rd and 5th leads against suits. It's not really a big deal. It's just a good idea to know what do you lead from a 3-card holding. And if it's from an honor, hopefully it should be small. And I don't think it'll be, even if you haven't talked about it with your partner, I don't think you will find it to be an issue of, oh, I thought you were leading from a 4-card suit and you only had a 3-card suit. The count in the suit, that really comes into play more when you're defending no trump, making that 4th best if you're using your rule of 11 and all that to place exact missing higher cards in the deck. But I think the important thing is that, if you're attacking and if it looks like partner's lead, if the idea is just to recognize partner's lead as an attacking type of lead, that if you see, in particular, if you're defending a suit contract, that if you see a small spot card led, most of the time we would think that partner is leading from an honor, right? And I also, for the most part, subscribe to the theory of lead from nothing, get nothing. So I am maybe inclined to make attacking leads more often than most. So.
Well, you have nothing, you have nothing.
So, the idea behind an active defense is that, and by the way, we are thinking about this in the context of defending suit contracts. No trump's very different. When you're defending no trump, there's all of this timing. Tricks tend to not go away so easily. No trump. And in fact, I would say that defending no trump is a lot more forgiving. Sometimes you get off to a bad opening lead, and you can correct it and later in the hand and still get all the tricks that your side has coming. Defending suit contracts, less forgiving. Sometimes tricks don't go away, but sometimes you make a bad opening lead, you may not recover. Or even if you haven't made the best opening lead, if you get an opportunity to correct it and say, switch to a different suit, there's more urgency to it. And so we should be more inclined to attack when we're defending a suit contract, because tricks can go away. And so there are a few situations, and again, this is stuff that's out of the book. If you end up with taking a look at the whole book, just want to give you a few situations where you want to be thinking about leaning toward an active defense. So one is, and we talked about this a little bit last week when we were talking about the forcing defense. So remember, any of these times that our opponents are playing in a suit contract and and their auction has revealed to us that while they are playing in one suit, presumably the major, more often than not, that they also hold another suit, possibly the other major or a minor, And that second suit, that side suit, is something that that we expect might be a source of winners for them when they get trump strung. So you can get a feel for how the hand is going to play for them sometimes if you look at, well, how is their side suit breaking? So, and again, there's not always a guarantee that the side suit is some, wonderful long suit. But, let's take an auction that looks something like this. So they've had a 2/1, and they've landed in 4 spades. And other than the trump suit, the only suit that got mentioned was clubs by the hand that is going to end up being the dummy, right? Now, we don't know how much, we don't know a lot about that club suit, right? It might only be a 4-card suit. They might have had to do that to get their 2/1 sequence going. But more often than not, it's going to be a real suit. It might be a 5 or 6-card suit. So we don't know for sure that that's where they are going to get tricks outside of their trump suit, but it's a strong candidate, and it's something to consider. So you're on opening lead. And, let's say I give you something like this. Pretty ordinary hand. Not the most wonderful collection to have to lead from, is it? You don't have a standout lead. So what you might think to yourself is, and we'll get into talking about this a little bit when we talk about passive defense, but you might be thinking to yourself, well, I hate to blow a trick and give something away. I really don't want to guess what I should be leading. Maybe I should lead trump. That seems safe. One of the things that would steer me away from a trump lead is my club holding. Yes, I'm thinking about my club holding when I'm deciding what to lead. Now, I'm never leading a club on this hand. That's probably my last choice of leads. Leading from jack third isn't usually a good proposition anyhow. And this is dummy's first bid suit, right? So I don't really want to help them get that club suit set up if that is part of the plan. But we also have an indicator here, right? If we expect dummy to have, most of the time, 4 or 5 clubs, and declare has rebid 2-no here, right? Suggesting a balanced hand. I mean, we know about the 5 spades, but the hand is otherwise balanced. Okay. And declare could have, declare might have a doubleton club. Might also have 3 of them, right? What does this start to look like is going on with the club suit? It's not splitting badly for them, right?
Right.
So, now, all the more reason if they were to have had an auction where, and we looked at an auction like this last time, but even if we were to change the auction like this, where they explicitly found a double fit, and now you're even more certain that they would want to be using clubs for tricks as in their side suit, right? But really, on either of these auctions, when you're looking at a holding like 3 clubs to the jack, I think what you can say to yourself is, nothing bad's going to happen to them in their side suit. That doesn't mean they won't lose a trick. Maybe they have an honor that they have to force out. Maybe partner has the ace or king or something like that, or queen even. Maybe they have a trick to lose in that suit, but they're not going to have any trouble there. Well, that suggests that maybe you should be attacking. Because if it turns out that dummy does have something like ace queen 5th of clubs, and what if declare had, say, king doubleton? Well, that suit's coming in, right? You know they could draw trumps, play king of clubs, club to the ace, play the queen, your jack falls. If partner has another club left, it falls. And guess what? The two little clubs in the dummy are now winners, and declare throws away losers and other suits, right? So now that's where we have the problem of, oh, tricks are going away. And those tricks may have belonged to you, but you didn't take them. So, what are we getting at here? If you think declare has a side suit that is breaking, you should probably be attacking. Now, it's not 100% clear which is the best attack because you can't see your partner's hand. But if you can at least narrow it down to, all right, I'm leading a red suit here. I'm either leading from my king jack fourth of hearts or my queen third of diamonds. My feeling is if you're going to attack and you end up guessing, you know you should be attacking, but you're not certain which suit is best, make your most attacking lead. So I would lead from my king jack. On this auction or the auction we saw before, I would lead a heart. Could it cost a trick leading away from my king of hearts? It could, if partner doesn't have the ace or the queen. On the other hand, you're not, that's not asking for partner to have much, right? Just to have one of those honors in an unbid suit. I mean, they bid a game, but you've only got 7 points here. Partner should have a little something. Who's to say partner can't have the queen of hearts? If partner had the queen of hearts and nothing else, you've made a great lead. You've made the best lead. Partner has the ace of hearts and returns the suit, even better. But even if you lead a heart and partner shows up with the queen and declare wins the ace, and then draws trumps and runs a bunch of club winners, discarding any losers. Have you hurt your side at all? You haven't hurt your chances, right? And you may have increased them. So,
Which card would you lead?
Whatever my length lead is. So if you play fourth best, if we've decided we're leading a heart, and we normally lead fourth best, I would lead the small one. If our agreement is we play third and fifth leads against suits, which I do with most of my partners, I would lead the third card down. I wouldn't lead an honor because you want to be prepared for the situation where, what if partner has the ace and declare has the queen? You don't want to set up that queen, right? So you want to lead small to the ace and then have partner come back through that queen if you're sitting, if you're lucky enough to be sitting over declares queen with your king jack. So yeah, and look, it may not be right. It's not going to be right every time. But the indicator is that declares side suit may be breaking. Now what if we change this up a little bit? And we'll still give you the king of hearts here. Give you sort of a similar hand.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Now, what if your hand looks like that?
Did opener bid 2 no or 3 clubs? Which version are we?
We can use the auction that's up there
Okay.
already. So your right hand opponent bid a spade, your left hand opponent bid 2 clubs. Righty raised to 3 clubs. Now they went back to spades, found their spade. So they have a double fit. They should have an 8-card spade fit, and they should have an 8-card club fit as well, but they're playing in the major, as we hope they would. But what's going on differently now?
Partner might have a singleton, or,
Partner is probably short in clubs. That's true. Good and good to be thinking about what your partner's distribution might be.
partner has fewer points.
Well, that's it too. We gave you a little better hand, so there's room for partner to have less, which might argue that attacking is a little less attractive. If you think partner is less likely to have a heart honor or a diamond honor, doesn't that make you a little less interested in leading one of those suits? But I think the key here is thinking about how is that side suit breaking for them?
Badly.
Yeah, now we don't know where the ace and queen are. We figure our opponents probably hold those cards since they have bid and raise clubs in the auction. It could be that both, could be that all the important clubs are in the dummy and your king, jack aren't that well positioned. But because you have 4 of them, it still means Declare's going to have some work to do to get that set up, and a 4th or 5th club and dummy, a smaller spot card, may not set up that easily. There's less urgency to attack when you know that their side suit isn't coming in. So here I actually might be inclined to lead a trump. I don't know that it's the best lead, but part of the reason that I like a trump lead here is because their side suit isn't breaking. Now again, this could be one of those situations where I lead my spade and the dummy comes down and I say, oh, okay. Maybe next time I get the lead, maybe I need to do something different, but we'll find out how good those clubs are. What if you led your trump and the dummy appeared with say something like 4 or 5 clubs to the 10? Well, now you'd probably feel really good about that lead, right? Thinking, all right, well, any club honors they have are going to be in Declare's hand. If Declare tries to finesse the queen of clubs, you're going to cover it with the king, and you might get your jack promoted later, right? So yeah, that's one of the things we're looking at. Is Declare's side suit breaking? If you think they're going to have an easy go of it, don't make their job easier by making a passive lead. Right or wrong, try and find an unbid suit and attack it. Another just general situation. Even if they don't end up in slam, if somebody shows slam interest, maybe they made a Q bid or something like that after they found their fit. So you get an indication that they are not only confident about their game, they're certain that their